Um, we plan to start with a prayer, but when Pastor Blake gets down, we'll get to that. In the meantime, I want to say on behalf of the building committee, Nan Wild is my co-chair. We've been meeting and working with architects and the Findorf, the builders, to, yep. Sorry, we've got a little bit of an echo up here. Hello? What about this? Test. Okay, I think we got rid of it. Thank you. And that has been very interesting process. One of the slides you'll see in a little bit will show you a list of possible adds, possible subtractions that we went through in a recent meeting last week, where we dropped a bunch of things that we don't feel we need or can just eliminate to do the job. And so it's been really a great process. We have a large group of people on the building committee, and if Gene wants to advance the slide, you can see the building committee members are listed over here. Within those, most of them are on one or more of these separate kind of subcommittees that have various responsibilities. We have a finance committee that's kind of doing work on the mortgage, and we've got a committee of one. Karen Bogenscheider is working with Nan to do communications. They're keeping minutes and so forth, but you'll be getting more information as we move through the process. The construction committee, we've got an architect on that committee, so that really helps. We have volunteers to be on the colors and materials committee. You can see the names of people that are so far on it. And furnishings. Relocation, because when we get to the time when we have to move out so that construction can begin, that will be a big job. And then conversely, when the work is done and we move back in, so we'll be probably, could use a couple more volunteers there, and definitely technology. And that's more related to what we'll have in the spaces to properly, keep us up to date. And so we've got people on here, but we will probably need a couple more if you have expertise in that area. And if we can go back one step, Pastor Blake, would you like to lead us in a prayer?
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for the opportunities you set before us as we serve you in this world and in this community. God, we're thankful for the many leaders who have stepped up to give us the opportunity to be in this position, for all those who worked on the Build to Serve, Grow and Love campaign, for our building committee, and for everyone who so generously allowed us to consider what might lie ahead. God, in all we do, continue to inspire us with faith, release us from our fears and anxieties, and give us good courage to be your people, stepping out into the world in love and mercy. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Before we turn it over to the meat of the presentation, and Gene Nelson, who is president of the Congregation Council, but he's also a professional in construction and HVAC. He's an engineer, has really been taking the lead and helping us work on plans and then communicate with the people who actually are going to exercise put the schedule to work. And so we're very blessed to have Gene, and I'm going to let him do most of the speaking this morning. But just to let you know, when we first gathered, we had to say, okay, how are we going to focus? What's our mission statement for the building committee? And I'll just read it quickly and let it sink in and then turn it over to Gene. As you can see, we came up with this mission statement: to shepherd the process of renewing our ministry wing, to better live out Midvale's mission for our members and the community. We will work collaboratively with all stakeholders, communicate clearly and consistently, and be responsible stewards of creation and the resources we have been entrusted with, seeking to complete the project on time and on budget. So you can see where we're focused, and I think that's what you would have all expected to see. And thank you all for your support to this point and as we go forward.
Good morning. So, sure. That work better? All right, can everybody hear me? Good. So, as Mark alluded to, we've had several meetings already, and you've seen some of these plans before, but they're a little different now, and it's going to continue to evolve as we try to hold the project within budget. And so the architects, growth design, and Findorf, who's doing the cost estimating, helped us with this process. They're currently not under contract, but that's what next week is about. So we'll get to that. But I'll just point out some of the things that have changed. So I'm going to maybe use the pointer on the mouse so people at home can see what I'm doing. So as you walk into the office area, this is the reception area right here. This is where maybe Pam sits some of the time, or maybe a volunteer sits here. And then Pam's office will be, oops, how did I do that? Pam's office will be here, Amanda's office here. This is kind of a general work area we call hoteling. So as people come in to help volunteer, or maybe Pastor Ken or whoever needs a workspace, that's for them. And then we have 3 offices on the end here for the Brenda and the 2 pastors. And down here is the entryway. This is where the mailboxes are. So this is where the committee members will drop off things and work. Yeah. And so this door here, if I can get my mouse to work, there it is. This door here will have a keypad to it, so it'll be somewhat locked, but committee members will have a access code to get in. And I think the budget has 1 key fob to get into the office area, but all the other doors will be keyed. So that's one thing we're looking at. So we have a single-use toilet here, and we have a conference room. This door will be open to the public. So this will be kind of a public conference room. And then we have a collaboration area, which is another small conference room. So you notice that this area here is where the meeting room is now. So we've expanded the office area. All the meeting rooms will be downstairs. On the second level, this looks somewhat the same. A few minor changes. We took out, this was a movable partition, is now a fixed partition between the nursery and the preschool. And we saved $28,000 by doing that. And so we still have, I believe, this is also a fixed partition. I think the only movable partition is this partition here and this partition here. Oops. So we have 2 movable partitions. These squares here are fixed countertop with a sink. Oops. We have a fixed countertop with a sink. And then we used to have 2 toilets over here, single-use toilets. And we used to have 2 toilets over here. We went to 1 as a cost savings measure. Again, about over $18,000 savings for getting rid of 1 toilet. Yes, question. Good question. We can talk to the
question
vendor.
is, will it be plumbed for toilets, the second spot that we aren't putting a toilet in?
We'll see what that cost is. Because yes, it'd be always nice to add it later if we could. Yeah. Understood. And then the next slide, this is the basement area. We're replacing 2 toilets with 2 smaller single-use toilets that are handicapped accessible, something we don't have down there now. And then the meeting rooms were down here. We moved them up here. We moved the youth room and larger meeting room here with a movable partition. So this could be one large room here. And then down here, we have 2 meeting rooms with a movable partition. So this could be one large meeting room here. And we squared off the wall here so we could have a projection screen here. So we're thinking ahead, and we're trying to make the best of it. So in summary, our new interior, we'll have new interior layout finishes, roof replacement over the ministry wing only. There was an ad to do the rest of the flat roof, and we can talk about that a little later. Repair the exterior flashing and waterproofing. That was also, I should have taken that off, but we don't have that anymore, but that was a value added item. We do have new boilers and pumps. I know we struggled this week getting the boiler going. I'm glad to see it got going.
It turns out we can thank MG&E for that.
Oh, is that the problem?
Yeah. When they moved the gas meter
Oh,
last summer, they did something that cut off some pressure. I was learned of that this morning from Jay.
So we will have new mechanical, electrical work. So all the spaces, including the library and the nursery, will be air conditioned. So we're doing a little gymnastics with the existing air conditioners. The air conditioner that's currently in the meeting room will go to the nursery. The air conditioner that's currently in the basement youth room will go up in the gathering space because that air conditioner no longer works. So we're kind of doing some juggling there. And we'll keep the air conditioner in the library. But otherwise, we're having new air conditioning for entire second floor and for the first floor office and for the basement meeting rooms. So the good ventilation, good air conditioning. And of course, yes. Morning, Nancy.
Hi there, Jean. I'm back to the level 1 and the reception area.
Sure.
I'm like a dog with a bone on that, as you know. I'm not sure about, okay, you showed the entry, right?
Right.
But that entry isn't through the reception area.
No, that entry is more of a kind of a
what?
vestibule, so to speak, into the office area that we have limited access. So that'd be a key door going into the office area and a numeric keypad to get into that entry space.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I know, but then it's in the administrator's office. Or
So, yeah. So Pam's office will be the first office
so
right here.
So you mean somebody like me, as an example?
Could be a volunteer sit up here, yes.
I mean,
Are you
I'm
volunteering?
sorry, it's ridiculous. It
Well-
looks ridiculous to me.
Well, function wise, we'll take that to the architect. What would you rather see?
Well,
Uh,
so what? I'll need to keypad it every time I need to go and speak to Pam on a Wednesday morning? I mean, I'm trying to understand.
So there's a
Or
window
making
here.
copies?
Yeah, so the copier would be way in here.
Wait,
So you do need to get an office to use the copier. But Pam will be sitting here and she'll monitor people coming and going. So if there is nobody sitting here, Pam can see if somebody's waiting. And
okay, so if you're working here like we do most Wednesday mornings,
you could work
how
in
do you
this work area here.
yeah, but how do you just come and go? I have to do a keypad. I have to then go through a receptionist to talk to Pam.
On the mic.
I'm sorry. I'm just pursuing this because it never seems to, from my perspective, improve in that area. That's
And-
why I'm at it.
There's no change when the office is open and there are office staff. You'll go in and go out with opening the door like you do now. The keypad access is for at night or on weekends when the office is closed and a committee is meeting.
Okay,
And then that committee member can't get into their mailbox or get the books that were left for them for their small group study or whatever. They'll be able to do that when the office is closed and it's not staffed. When the office is staffed, the door will be open
The
and you'll
store
be
could
able
be
to go
open
in and
and
out
have access.
Okay.
just as you normally would.
all right. I just want to be sure.
No, Nancy,
Then why are we,
the ad is that we've now got our mailboxes available during hours that the church is open, but the office isn't.
okay,
So if you were on council, say, and you wanted to pick up your mail on a Tuesday night at 7, you keypad and you get that.
okay,
Now you have to go in through the office and,
right.
just that door is moving from here to here. Virtually no change for,
Okay.
for anyone who, like you, what you were describing.
Yeah. I just wanted to use myself as an example.
Okay.
And I'm not done. So why are we reducing the number of toilets down here? Like for
The toilets here are still there.
all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
We're not touching anything on this side.
No, I'm talking about down here, down here.
Oh, actually, we're not reducing them. We're just changing them to more
Oh,
accessible.
So that wasn't clear.
Yeah, those 2 toilets, there are 2 toilets there now,
Okay.
but
that you're not
they're
touching.
kind of a maze to get in there with a wheelchair.
Yeah,
These won't be
okay.
changed.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think I've complained enough. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we go back to the first level? I have a question about the office setup. So do you anticipate that somebody is sitting at that reception desk uh, when the building is open? You know, Pam has a zillion things to do. She could
Agreed.
not be that person.
So we're looking for volunteers.
Okay.
Definitely on Sunday, we'd have somebody sitting there.
Yeah.
And
Nothing worse than walking in and seeing it empty, like
Right.
an empty desk. Like, what am I
Right.
supposed to do now? I don't know where to go or.
so I'm just thinking maybe there's a buzzer there if Pam doesn't see you right
Sure,
away. She's off working someplace that at least announce that somebody's waiting.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of the system now, I mean, she gets interrupted a lot, but she's right, God bless her. But she's right there, you know,
Yes.
so somebody sees, oh, there's a person there. I bet that's the person I should talk to. And the window, you said there's a window, but
There
you
is a
have her
window, yep.
office and reception and
That'd
then,
be a full height window too, so.
oh, she better behave. I have one more question if it's okay. The second level,
Yes.
the Sunday school level, in the drawings of the proposed work, that area, the greeting area was
Yep.
really beautiful. Is that, how much of that is sticking? Looked like there was a curved wall and there was a big
Yeah,
staircase.
I mean, the original picture showed a curved wall, but that was, and it's gonna change probably.
So is there still the open sort of staircase thing?
Yeah, so the stairwell is currently in the budget to open up the stairwell next to the sanctuary all the way up to the 2nd floor. And we'll make that a glass door to make it more open.
Thank you.
And this space itself is much larger than what you have now because
Right,
there are
there's-
offices here. So that achieves most of what you were describing, maybe not the curved wall.
Will the roof replacement allow for future possibility of solar panels?
Yes. And
That was a must.
yes, yes. In fact, I'm guessing that once the project is done, that we'll pursue whatever rebates are available to get the most economical system in. So there's lots of little projects on the side that we'd love to do. But we'll see how far the money goes. I guess that's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, one of them was to do the solar now, but that's an ad that just isn't going to fit.
It was $100,000 ad, so. All right, so from temperature control, each of these rooms will have, much better temperature control than there is there now. We're getting rid of the air compressor. That noisy air compressor will be gone. And we'll go into electronic controls. And hopefully we can have web-based controls that Jay can sit there with his phone or with iPad and see what the temperature is in each of the spaces. Won't be that sophisticated. The archive room will also have its own temperature control and humidity control. Yes.
Sorry to be a question box, but what plans are in place for ceiling treatments in those
All new
rooms?
ceilings.
Will they be sound absorbent like these?
Yes.
Or I'm thinking about using one of those big downstairs rooms as a potentially as a choir rehearsal area. And depending on the ceiling treatment, that room could be great for the choir, which actually it is right now. Those two, 31 and 33. But if that were to change a lot, it would change that. And will the room still be carpeted?
I believe so.
Okay.
I haven't talked to the architect exactly about finishes,
Okay.
but I think it will be carpeted.
Oh, the best for the choir would be a hard floor, but we've been
Yeah.
singing in there with carpet in it. It's okay. The ceiling probably has more to do with what happens because the sound bounces
Yep.
off there. But okay, thank you.
We've been through the scope. Now we get to the fun part, the finances. So back in 2023, Findorf gave us a cost estimate of, they were looking at a total budget of 3.8 million to 4.4 million. That included a lot of extra costs, what we call soft costs, which is our non-construction costs. In 24, before we met the first time, I gave the architect, well, here's our goal. We gave, finance committee met through the summer and we looked at, what our finance options were. And so we gave them a goal and they came back with about $200,000 higher. But when we look at, ignore the bottom part here and just look at the construction costs, so that we're looking at 3.2 million, a little over 3.2 million. Construction costs with a potential of 700,000 alternate bids that if we accepted them all, or $4 million, way over our budget. So we started work, we got together again with the architects and Findorf, and we went room by room on what could be changed and what finishes. We took out partitions, we took out sinks, we took out a toilet room, we did a lot of things. We kind of put them in these columns here. It says status, estimated value, accepted, pending, rejected, or add alternates. And you'll see, there's a lot. If you have the handout, you can see all these numbers. It's hard to go through all these numbers on the screen. But we did a lot of work, try to get the cost down. And the bottom line is we got down to 3.1 million. Well, shaved a little bit off. And we identified about 155,000 alternates. And we rejected 147,000 projects, and then there's still 35,000. So I think the story here is that we're going to continue to monitor cost, and we're going to try to keep the project within budget. Here's some of the potential adds. We took the exterior drip edge repair. Jen can probably talk about the extent of the water damage that's already occurred on the north side. So if you walk down the street on Tokay, you can see water spots on the brick. This is to address that issue. Re-roof, we're only going to re-roof over the ministry wing, and so the rest of the flat roof is also has similar issues with leaks and maintenance, and it'd be ideal to replace the entire flat roof. But that's $76,000 extra. So something else we had. Then the third unit price there, the higher quality rooftop units, That's me. So what's in the budget now is a standard commercial grade unit, but there are higher quality units available that last longer, have longer useful life. So that's $40,000 ad. So we've got 155,000 of known ads, and then we came up with some additional ones. We took out, add that second toilet back in the classrooms upstairs. Again, 18.5 there. Rough end for future fob controls. These are the card readers, magnetic card readers. To be determined. And then replace the fellowship hall heating unit. That's this unit right here. That's kind of falling apart. So $12,000. So non-construction project costs. These are not related to construction. It's just things we have to do to make this project move forward. So the Findorf's recommending a 5% construction contingency fund. This fund is for things they find buried in the walls that we didn't know about. And high probability we'll spend that. And then Findorf, we're hiring Findorf as a manager to manage all the subcontractors. They want 3% for that, which I thought was a reasonable bid. So that's the 96,000. Then growth design fees, that's the architect. And they quoted 5.05%, which I thought was an excellent rate. And they've really worked well with us in the past. And so we're really welcoming having them. And then Findorf pre-construction fees. So Findorf's spending a lot of time right now putting all these numbers together. And so we have to give them some money. So 20,000 there. And then their Findorf subs for MEP is mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Is one of those acronyms that we love to throw around. And so that totals 219,000. And you'll see later that we're going to ask the congregation next week to fund that portion right away so we can get started. And then hazardous material removal. And I confirmed that number. That is current numbers. It's 116,000. That's something that's outside of the contract with Findorf. And we'll be paying for that. The church will be paying for that directly. Then I have money in for temporary facilities and then temporary facilities removal. What does this mean? Well, we got to move people around during construction. So where does Pam go? Where does Amanda go? And the rest of the office staff is going to work from home. So when I told Pastor Blake that he has to move all his books out, he got a little excited.
We'll be looking for volunteers to help and pack.
But I think our current thinking is to move Amanda in the garden room in the corner over there. And Pam will construct an office probably up on the first floor someplace. And so we'll probably work with the architect on where's the best place to put that. And then we've got 2 quotes from movers, 2 men in a truck and Reynolds Transfer to move all our furniture out. And to minimize that, I've encouraged Jay and Brenda to throw out furniture that we no longer want to use. And so there'll be a lot of new furniture in the new facility. And then we have line 12 there, new furniture and technology, 150,000. That's a stab in the dark. We don't know that number yet. We're still working on that. I'm meeting with DaneNet tomorrow, actually, to talk about where the server might go. And hopefully we can find a place to make that functional and try to figure out some costs. And our technology committee will help us work on that. And our furnishings committee will help us on what new furniture we need to buy. And then, so during construction, we pay interest on the amount borrowed, but we don't pay any principal. So during that, I think it's a 13-month of construction, we got paid $97,000 in interest. Yes, question.
Hang on.
When does the interest lock in and stuff? Is that a
So the mortgage will lock in at the end of construction. And we'll talk about some of the finances as we go. So anyway, when I look up at all the non-construction project costs, 944,000, significant number. So when we look at our budget, so say if I round off Findorf's number to 3.2 million, Findorf is suggesting a bid contingency of 10%. This is things that change during the design. And we're not always sure of what the costs are as we go. So the net adjusted construction budget is 3.5 million. And plus our non-construction project costs is $4.4 million. That's more money we can spend. So we'll be working on that. So here's a summary of the pledges so far. We had 1.8 million pledged. We're estimating that the pledges received by the end of construction is 1.2 million. Personally, I think it's going to be closer to 1.4 million by the time we get to construction. The finance committee is recommending that we hold back 12 months of loan payments in reserve. And that amount will probably be reduced as the project goes into multiple campaigns. But for now, I think that's so if there's a month where we don't receive money, we'll have this extra fund to call on to make the payments. And so right now, with a $4.4 million job project, and say if I take the 972,000 of net available, it means we need to borrow almost 3.5 million, which is kind of unworkable. So our finance committee is coming back. We can want to borrow between 3 million and 3.2 million. That is our goal. And so the finance committee came back with these recommendations. Keep the fine tuning the scope of the project as it develops to limit the construction cost to about 3.2 million. And that includes any bid contingencies. So we'll continue to work with the, got a question about them?
Can you wait, please?
Wait,
I'm not sure at all. I have no idea, but I know there are funds that are already committed.
yes,
Many people have already committed their funds for this year.
yes.
Actually, earlier this year.
Yeah, we've got about 400,000
Okay,
collected.
that was
already.
my question. How much? And that's, so we should get arbitrage on those funds. Those funds should be invested.
They are.
And they're making money right now to offset some of the expenses later.
Yes, so finance committee's been working on that. We intend to invest a good portion of the collected funds in CDs. I think the current rate is about 4%.
So that leads me to the next part of it. Okay, that leads me to the next part of it, which says that for next year, it would be an advantage for everyone who's contributing to contribute it early
Oh, yes,
in January instead of mid-year.
we're always encouraged.
Yeah, okay. I just thought that, because that could amount to quite a few dollars.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll continue reading the Finance Committee's recommendations. We met just last week on this, by the way. The goal is to borrow 3 million with a total project of 4.2 million. And I'm thinking we could bump that another 200,000 to 3.2 with a 4.4 total project. That's our goal. We're saying that's the absolute limit. We're going to hold 12 months in reserve for loan payments. And this amount could be reduced to 6 months as we get near the end of the mortgage. And we're seeking out additional funding sources for furniture technology, potential ad alternates, any other cost overruns. So if you want to donate some money for a new roof or, or new heating elements, we're welcome additional funding. We talked to the endowment committee. There is potential unused funds at the end of each year. And so there was some talk about moving some of the unused endowment funds into the building construction fund, also as a potential source of income. So we're always looking for good ideas and more money, I guess is the bottom line there. So loan analysis. So Mark can attest to this. We've done many spreadsheets. And these spreadsheets did a monthly cash flow analysis of how much money we have in the account and how much we're paying each month and money in and money out. And this is kind of a summary. So the chart on the left here is during the construction loan. So currently we've got quotes from MIF, which is Mission Investment Fund. And they're willing to give us a 25-year loan at 7 1/8%. We expect to lower that by at least a quarter point with the current economic conditions. So we're hoping by the time we take out this loan, we'll get a better interest rate. We've also reached out to Thrivent, and they are kind of wishy-washy. Their number is higher, but the response has been a little slower. And we also reached out to Oak Bank, which was prime rate plus 2%, which is not the greatest. So they were about 8%. So we've done our homework, is kind of the story here. And the bottom line is we will be able to make payments with the funds available for the construction loan interest. And we'll actually prepay some of the construction funds down early, but while still maintaining our 12 months fund back. And actually, I got an additional 5% held back during construction for other unknowns. So I think we're pretty safe during construction. And when we get to August of 2026, we're going to take out a mortgage. It's a 25-year mortgage with our minimum monthly payment of $21,443 for a $3 million loan. And my cash flow analysis says, well, we can pay this off in about 14 years and paying about 1.5 million in interest. And this is similar to the sanctuary campaign, I believe, where we pay off the sanctuary loan.
It is between 13 and 14 years.
So very similar.
One thing I might want to point out before you leave this, when Gene puts together these spreadsheets, he's really conservative on a lot of things, including when the cash is flowing in. You know, Bob, you brought up the fact if people donate earlier, we'll have funds, that can earn some earnings, interest or whatever. But also, as we start to get costs, we'll be paying some of those, which means we'll be avoiding, you know, that as long as possible. So, you know, the numbers here kind of look like we're stretching already, but I think maybe it's not quite as tight as it looks, because not only that, the expenses from Findorf are estimates too. And until we let the bids out, we don't know if those are going to be right on. Now they said, you know, allow some extra, but it could come in less too.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty conservative with that.
But I think the building committee will continue to work to maintain our costs at no more than 3.2 million.
You also might want to mention that Mission Investment Fund has committed to up to 3.5 million. So we could borrow 3.5 million if it turned out that's where we ended up. We don't want to do the max, but that's where they
a
would go.
$3.5 million loan would be $25,000 a month in monthly payments. So you can see the interest rate. So if we went to a 3.25 million, you don't have this in the handout, by the way, the slide was added extra. Our monthly minimum payment goes up by $1,400 if we go with that extra 200,000 in loan. And it takes 16 years to pay instead of 14 years. Well, on good notes, if we go to 6.875% interest rate, we can save $3,096 in the construction loan and $92,000 in the mortgage. So pray for good. And then if we did the 3.2 million at that interest rate, it goes up a little bit. Takes 15 years to pay for that. And with that, I'll go through the timeline and I'm going to hand it over to Nan to finish. So this timeline's been out there before. You can see the October 23 and May 24 numbers are grayed out. We've done those already. So we're currently right here in the September-October time period where we're reviewing preliminary design, and that's kind of what we're doing right now, obtaining updated cost proposals. We're in progress of doing that right now. And we're seeking next week to have a congregational meeting to approve paying the architect for all this hard work and Findorf. And so, and then things to do in the next few months is logistics of moving and what happens during that construction period. Boy, there's a lot going on there. So one thought is to have this adult forum up in the sanctuary during construction and Sunday schools here. So it's a lot of moving and a lot of logistics. And then we hopefully, but in February to May, the architect is doing their bid documents, and then says congregational meeting, and we'll try to get bids by early May, and it will have another congregational meeting like this to approve the final construction bids. And that also we'll probably sign construction contracts soon after that. So from June 25 to August 26, construction will continue in one phase. We were originally thinking, yes, question? Oh, okay. We were originally thinking maybe doing it in phases so that we could use some of the office space during construction, but we said, let's get it all done at once. And it's the most economical for costs, and we'll just have to live with construction for 13 months. Hopefully, and before Sunday school starts or fall starts, we'll have a new facility in 2026. And so that's a great plan. So I'll let Nan kind of handle this slide from here. Yep, thank you.
So we have a motion for the congregation to approve, hopefully, on next Sunday, the 27th of October. And it states this: approve the expenditure of the building funds up to $250,000 for the architectural engineering and cost estimated services to develop an updated cost estimate before we seek bids, and to develop the bid documents for Scope A, Scope B, the boiler replacement, and possible selected alternates for maximum construction cost of 3.2 million and a maximum total project cost of 4.2 million. So we need all of you to be praying for the congregation and for all of the committees. We have trusted partners in Growth Design and Findorf. We feel like we were blessed with really good people to be project managers with us. So this is a big, big investment, and we need all of you to be present if you're possibly able to be next Sunday for this vote. So are there any other questions?
Mine is not a question. I just want to thank every single person who's working on this really important, massive project. I mean, it's incredible what all of you have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Now,
Yeah, one other thing just to make you aware of, and we've talked about this in other points as well when we did the Build to Serve, Grow and Love campaign and so on, but Gene's financial analysis, which has really been wonderful that he's done that, does include, similar to when we remodeled the sanctuary, that after the campaign that we've already had, we would continue with several, probably 2 more 3-year capital campaign requests again in 2027 and 2030. And we've built in a sort of a reduction in what is expected in each of those compared to, of course, this initial one, but those would continue for a couple additional rounds to meet the financial goals that we have shared today.
Yeah, to pay it off in 14 years, we're definitely going to need additional campaigns.
Anything else?
Yeah. And Mike's,
I guess I'll just wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. Thank you for your support of the plan. Thank you for your gifts of funds to help pay for the plan. And for your prayers, as Nan requested, that everything go well. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited enough that when they asked me if I would be on the building committee after being on the capital campaign, I said yes again. But it's been a lot of fun, and we have a lot of great people in this church, and a lot of people have stepped up and said, yeah, I'd like to help with this or that or whatever it might be. So it's really been a blessing to me to be part of that. And thank you, all of you, for what you do and what you bring to us.
and it'd be great to have more volunteers. If you want to help out, we can find a place for you. Especially in communications. Karen is our only person in communications right now. I know Nan's been filling in, helping with communications. But feel free to come up to any of the building committee members during this process and express your concerns or questions. We're glad to try to help you.
We're not going to assume we haven't thought of some great idea that you might have. So yeah, don't feel shy about sharing. All right, thanks. Do we need to introduce anything for next Sunday? Yeah, Pastor Blake's on next Sunday.
Yeah, next weekend is Reformation Sunday, and I'm going to be sharing about a living catechism is the topic. So there's a group of Lutherans that have been looking at, well, Martin Luther's small catechism was written in 15, I don't know what the exact year was, 1820, something like that, I don't know, to help families and individuals understand the basics of our Lutheran faith. But we are a renewing faith, and we live in a much different world. So what would a Lutheran catechism look like today if someone was going to write a new one to teach us what the basics of our faith are? How does it connect and what needs to change? So that's what we're going to be talking about and brainstorming next Sunday during the Adult Forum.
Thank you. There's a handout on the back table if you want to take one.